I'm Cidney, Total Liberation Green.
I'm Stephanie Cathcart.
And we are the owners and CEOs of Total Lip Service, the world's first phone sex academy. Yeah! A lot of y'all may not know, but we've been in the industry for a very long time, about 5 years now. Made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of stupid stuff, and now we're finally in the money.
Yes.
It's been about 2 years, and we have, done a very good job making a full-time living, earning six figures, a piece in the industry. We have a lot of things to share. And speaking of being phone sex operators, making a lot of mistakes, this video is going to be about the top 5 mistakes that new girls make in the industry. I mean, it's quite interesting.
There's countless of mistakes that can be made, but we're going to go over the kind of most common mistakes of newbie or people who think that they can be a phone sex operator, think that they're ready to be right now. So,
number one is a mistake that I made quite a bit. I used to do phone sex for free, when I was underage. It's a little boys in high school, whatever. But and I tried to take that to the professional world, and I realized that men like it when I'm on the phone. They like it. They get turned on. They jack off when I'm moaning on the phone. Who doesn't like a woman oohing and ah on the phone? So I took that to my professional career, and it just didn't work. I got hung up on. I would allow 2 seconds of conversation to go by, and I'm already finding an excuse to moan. I mean, he says hello, I say, I'm coming. Oh! Yeah, that doesn't work. I mean, being a good moaner and being able to, do that is very important, but it's definitely a big mistake that people make. It's much more in-depth. Actually making serious money as a phone sex operator is much more in-depth than simply acting like you're playing with yourself on the phone. There's development that goes into it. There is strategic ways to hold a man on the phone without him realizing that that's what you're doing. It is developing a character. So many things that go into actually keeping that call going on the longest amount of time. And since we get paid per minute, you want to keep on the phone as long as possible. And moaning is a horrible way to do it, and it just screams amateur, amateur. So let's not do that. That would be the first big no-no in the world of new phone sex operators.
Yes, I definitely agree. Another big no-no, number 2, is a lot of people, before they take her training, they say, oh, I've always wanted to work at home, that way I don't have to get a babysitter. And big no. So first off, let me say, in the adult industry, it is against the law to have a child in the vicinity.
You think you wouldn't have to say that?
Yeah, you think you wouldn't have to, but it's a very common mistake. Even if it's a newborn and they don't know it yet, I understand that. However, it's not a big turn on when a baby's crying in the background, and I will say that for some customers, it is a big turn on, and those type of customers you don't want getting turned on by your infant. So, children away. You do have to get a babysitter. You do have to, if your house is big enough like ours, then, maybe get someone to babysit in another room where there's no sound whatsoever, where you will be taking calls. So, yes, you do have to find a babysitter or a daycare. It's not your town to homeschool the kids.
Absolutely not. Number 3 is they don't know the phone sex language. Another big mistake. I mean, you have to understand, Total Lip Service, the training, the phone sex 101 training that we offer is nothing but a bunch of mistakes that we compiled into a nice little package for you. But we've done all this stuff we've done. I mean, I don't think we've had kids, but it's been dogs and all kind of crazy.
Oh, but I babysat my friend's daughter when I was doing phone sex. Actually, that's how I learned not to do that. I took a call. Back then, I was working for one of the wrong sites, which we're not going to get into until later, but actually next. But for that site, I didn't get a lot of calls, honestly, and so I thought, I can babysit her. I'm at home all day. And I ended up getting a call. Went in there. She was only about 2 or 3, and I said, sit here, watch TV. I'm gonna be in my room taking calls. Don't do anything. She wasn't that comfortable at my home because I was babysitting, and she had to use the restroom. I wasn't there to take her to the potty, and she ended up like, kind of peeing on herself, but she was like peeing on herself and interrupting my call at the same time, coming in the room crying like, I have to pee. And so I wanted to be mad at her because I did say, hey, don't interrupt me. But at the same time, I'm the one who took on a babysitting job, with a 2 or 3 year old. She's the one who's 2 or 3. She's not the one who's taking these calls and who should know better. So I have had sort of an experience with that.
I don't like kids. They're never around me. So don't have this problem.
I love children.
I don't. Keep them all for yourself. So that goes, we digressed a little bit, but that was an important nugget. I'm glad you shared that experience. So they don't know the phone sex lingo. See, phone sex is it is just like going into a lawyer's office or maybe into a doctor's office and thinking you're going to understand what those doctors are saying. Try watching some of these doctor shows and you kind of don't know all you know is the plot is thick, but you kind of don't know what they're talking about. It is the same thing with phone sex. It's so many acronyms, abbreviations, jargons, things that people say and you're supposed to know what they mean. I'm telling you, I got hung up on quite a bit for just not knowing what the hell I was talking about and trying to sniggle and giggle when they said something. I remember these guys used to use these terms with this big acronym, and I, of course, was an amateur, so I just started moaning. Back to number one. If you know what you're doing, you're going to actually be able to carry the conversation along. No, phone sex is much more intricate than you think, and that's what this whole blog is about. It's definitely almost a different world. Everything about it is different than what you're used to. So having a good voice and moaning is real cute, but if you don't know what the customer is trying to get you to do, then you're not going to make any money because they're going to hang up on you. Mm-hmm. And guess what? We get paid by the what?
Minute.
The minute. So therefore, if you try to moan and so, yeah.
Because it could be a fetish that he doesn't even want you to get off, and you don't know the name of it. I mean, I remember the first time I heard of a diaper fetish. I had no clue that even existed. Didn't know that it was the most profitable fetish in the world either. And that is something I should have known what existed, where that comes from. Many facets. That one fetish alone.
Probably a phone sex call.
Yes, actually that's a GFE customer. Will take the training and you'll know what that is. So yeah. I thought, didn't know what that was. But that one particular fetish, for instance, there's so many different facets. Mm-hmm. Some of them are dominant, some of them are submissive, some of them it's just so much. And just that one, not to mention the hundreds of huge fetishes that are associated with phone sex. So
yeah, it's definitely ratchet if you don't know what it is that you're talking. And you're charging them. Women who take our training get to charge customers top dollar. And you can't be trying to charge top dollar and you don't know a very basic phone sex acronym. Give me a little CBT with a little GFE. They would say something like that. I mean, not as stupid as I said it, but they would say, really into a little GFE with a little CBT with a little JOI. Oh, so sad. You just.
Sometimes they won't even say the name. And if they tell you the name, you can go and Google it. Sometimes they won't. They'll say, oh, my wife has left me. She's out with someone else. And an experienced phone sex operator picked up on what I said, and they know the exact fetish that goes along with. And so if you didn't even pick up on that little snippet, you're probably not there yet.
Yeah, and that's why you need to take our training. So that's why, again, moaning is just a little piece of it. So we can move to the next one.
Wrong company. So I actually got into this industry through Miss Cidney. I was actually already searching for phone sex.
You were?
Me actually and my friend, I'll say her name, Sunshine. Me and who was my roommate at the time, we just wanted anything to work at home. We didn't care if it was phone sex or not. However, when we're looking for kind of erotic sex work at home, because that's what we were already kind of into, we were dancers and all that, and so looking for erotic sex work at home, we filled out phone sex applications, but I never got chose. However, I had a friend, Cidney, who has a great personality, especially through writing. That's why she has her blog, Total Liberation, I mean. But, you know, she's always been really good at writing and expressing herself through words and being able to have her personality come across through writing. And so she got on with the company that I could have sworn I applied for and they never saw or never picked me up. So luckily, she was able to get on, told them about me and my wonderful voice, my wonderful personality, and they ended up hiring me as well. With that company, there was lots of trolling, which is basically where you get into a chat room and it's a lot of other girls, some of them even on different companies, some of them on the same company, and you try to get these callers to call you. So you spend free time in the chat room because you only get paid per minute. So you're not getting paid for this. You're doing this in hopes of getting the call. They, you know, provide you with these pictures, and you basically are sending free pictures to customers just to get them a call. Some of them look at the picture, jerk off, and get off and never call. You know, my calls were usually about 10 minutes with them. Honestly, I would be good if I got 1 call a day. If I got 2 calls in a day, I was hitting it. And I pretty much worked all day to get those calls, texting people back and forth into chat lines. You know, we had to sign in on AIM, Yahoo, and stay signed in on them. And only getting paid very little. The call time was the call, writing blogs every week. I mean, so much. And I think the most either of us had ever made was like $300. With
that's
that
over 2 weeks, man. Well, a week? Or was it a week? I
think that was the most we hit in a week was 300, and we thought we were balling.
Oh yeah,
balling shot.
I only hit. You know what? I got a 434. I remember $434. I only hit that one time. The rest was like 190. You know, $100, $90 here there was really ratchet. But you know, we thought we were doing good.
And we were 19 years old, so to us that couldn't seem like a lot because we made it at home. And we did it just for talking on the phone, which, you know, in some ways were okay. So from that company, we went to another company that paid per hour, $7 an hour.
God.
And so you're like, so basically we call a 1-800 number, we log in, and we have to stay on the phone for our shift. So say we signed up to work 4 hours, 8 hours. Now, granted, we were able to choose our schedule, so that was okay, you know, but you did have to stay on the phone and logged on. If that call lasted an hour, if that call lasted 10 minutes, you were getting paid $7. Now, to defend that company, if you have an hour-long hold time, you can make $17 an hour.
What's hold time?
I'm sorry, thank you. Hold time is how long you can keep a customer on the phone. How many minutes he's talking. So my average hold time is 90 minutes. Now, and the average phone sex operator is 8 minutes. So if average is 8 minutes, if you had an hour-long hold time, which for the type of operators that company attracts, none of them actually have that. So no one is actually even getting paid $17 an hour. And there were some that had been working for that company literally for years. I knew a lady who at that time had been there for seven years. And her whole time was about an hour. She was getting paid that $17, but to work somewhere for 5 years and get paid $17 an hour. And I know there are people watching this video thinking, well, 17 is probably more than I. Hey, wherever you are. However, if you are a phone sex operator, if you are a pro phone sex operator, $17 an hour will become laughable to you very soon. Despicable, degrading. Honestly, I mean, it would be no way. Especially for the amount of work that we were doing. So there's also another company. I was getting paid like 30 cents a minute, which was a little bit, 30 cents a minute.
We were going to together too, right?
If you did that one too, yes. Oh, yes. Well, we had to really work on, yes, okay. And so
it was impossible to keep them on the phone.
It was impossible to keep them on the phone. They hang up immediately. Only get paid 30 cents a minute, 40 cents. They did have a higher call volume, which was okay. However, I found out that they charge those men $2 a minute. We were keeping them 30 cents. And so even a lot of those companies that do have a high call volume, that it's not as hard to get calls, still, you're not getting paid more than 20, 30, 40 cents a minute. And that company is charging well over that.
We used to get excited. I remember that was I remember I got a $90 check from them. That I had never hit nowhere. It never was 3 digits with me with that company.
Me either. Because they had this really weird, and a lot of those too, they had this really weird rule where they don't pay you as much if your hold time is down. And so I think it was 40 cents if you had a good hold time, but if it was like, I think it might have started at 20. I think it was like some type of fluctuation because a few times like I would get paid more, and then sometimes it'll be less because of my hold time. I know a few ladies who have worked for those companies previously before we had this whole total lip service thing, and they worked for those companies, and a lot of them said that they thought that when they when they wrote down their whole time that it was even higher than what was calculated by them. And so it's a lot of kind of shiciness and underhandedness, exploitation that comes with working for the wrong site.
Oh yeah, and then money can be wasted. I mean, literal money can be wasted. Time, energy, and money. That's what total lip service cuts back on all that. You do not have to be 5 years, 3 years of the game before you start making some money. You have us now, and that's fortunate for you.
Yes.
Guys, okay, the number 5 and the last point we're going to make here is people don't get professionally trained. And, that's not y'all's fault. We just got here, It's not a lot of help out there. It's really not. I remember companies don't train you. The turnover rate with phone sex operators is high. You want to do it 1 minute, then the next minute you don't. I think that's part of the reason why a lot of companies don't really train you. Now, the hourly one, they did do some training. Mm-hmm. It was some.
But they don't do that. They actually don't do that anymore.
Oh, well, okay. There you have it.
But they did do some training.
Some training, very basic. I'm not going to say nothing to make me 6 figures or nothing. But it was some assistance at least. Mm-hmm. But the normal company, because girls are so indecisive, because they get ready to go get one bad call or one person talking about some pedophile shit and all of a sudden they quit. It's the turnover rate is so high that they don't put forth the energy and the effort to do it. That's why typically, well, for me, it was easy to get on to a job, but making money was the hard part. I mean, you can Google any kind of phone sex company and they'll probably hire you maybe if you have my dazzling personality. But as she said, even sometimes getting on can be challenging. So, but let's just say you get on. That don't mean you're in the clear at all unless you're with the right company. But I will say that none of those companies really helped out, and I think part of that was because of the high turnover rate. So what do? We go try to find stuff. Not very much information out there either about how to really make money as a phone sex operator. How do you do it though? How do I do this?
Yeah, people say get a phone line. I mean, when I was looking for help, it'll be like I don't want to say the name of any particular websites or blogs, but it'll just be like someone's blog with pretty much not much information on, okay, but how do you make money though? Okay, but I heard that there's some girls making 6 figures. Getting a phone, changing your voice, sounding cute and moaning does not get that.
No.
And for us, for both of us, we both have to do a lot of research on our own. We both have to do a lot of self-teaching, self-training. That took years.
Honestly, I see. This is the research. If you research, all kudos to you. I was just my experiences in the field. I may have tried to Google something, but see, I'm the type, if I try to Google something, I don't find nothing, I get out of it and just get back in and keep getting ass beat in the industry until I figure it out. So with me, she may have done some, found and dug deep and went to the 97th page on Google to find something. I really just got my ass kicked. So my experience is hardcore in the field. That's it. Trial and error. Me learning, me really figuring that shit out through doing it.
I was researching while getting my ass kicked. I didn't start researching until I got my ass kicked for a few years. I didn't start researching until I met my first 6-figure phone sex operator and was like, and not met her in person, but heard about her online and was like, wait a minute. I've been getting my ass kicked for a long time and I'm not making 6 figures. How does she do that? And so really that's where our training was born. is through that research, through that experience, through her writing, being able to put my research to pieces. Yes, I'm the researcher, but you guys wouldn't have any training without her making that available and accessible and more realistic to your experience as a phone sex operator. So together we have compacted something very beautiful for you. We have deleted the exploitation. We have deleted the trial and error. We've deleted the fighting your way to the top, the hut and grut. We've made this empowering. You know, we could have honestly spent all of this time and money and efforts to create our own One Sense company and exploit women, but we did not. We decided to teach women what we have done, to make what we make. And give them the tools to do this completely on their own as a true entrepreneur in this industry, to keep that money. I mean, you shouldn't be charging $2 a minute and keeping 30 cents a minute. You shouldn't work for a company that you don't even know what they charge people per minute. You know what I mean?
We set our own rates. We decide when we get paid. If I want to get paid every day, I do. If I want to get paid every week, I do. If I want to get paid every month, I do. If I want to hold it for 6 years, I do. I mean, it's totally up to you. So that wraps up our first podcast. Expect these regularly. Again, but all information is on www.totallipservice.org. That's www.totallipservice.org. Yeah, absolutely. And any email inquiries, you can send us at info@totallipservice.org, and we will get you started. Yeah. Peace out.